Hello, my name is John Wick, and today I'm reviewing the movie Ballerina from the world of me. Remember to subscribe. Yeah. I totally meant to do that. Yeah.
Alright, so anyway, we're watching, or you're watching me review Ballerina from the world of John Wick. I'm so glad I didn't shoot that camera right in the face. Anyway, yeah, so this is obviously a spin-off from the, the John Wick franchise, obviously. We've gotten another spin-off before this, which was the Continental show, which I haven't seen. I don't have the streaming service, but I do want to get that on Blu-ray one time and just kind of watch it, because I love this franchise. John Wick 1 is good. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's probably my least favorite. It's fine. It's just it's good, right? That's it. Like, it's good. You go home. John Wick 2 is where you get more of the lore and more of the action, and it gets more of the staples where he's kind of going, yeah, and stuff like that. And he's actually barely talking in it, so that kind of thing. And then you get to John Wick Chapter 3, which is my favorite, where it's just effing crazy the whole time. And then obviously, you do have this plot and all that. And then of course Chapter 4, which is the newest one, with called John Wick. And some stuff happens in the end of that film. You probably know what happens, but I won't spoil it in case you haven't seen it. But it's also one of the better ones. And then going into Ballerina, I was like, okay. Every time I tell my friends or family I'm seeing a movie called Ballerina, they look at me like, what? Are you stupid? That's a movie for girls. And I'm like, no, it's not like the Barbie movie. You know what I mean? It's not like My Little Pony, the effing movie. And then they watch the trailer and they're like, oh, okay. And they immediately catch on to what's going on. But no, I mean, I will admit, calling a movie Ballerina, yes, it does fit in with the lore, the cuckoo, kaglaka, or whatever they call it, the Ricky Rooster, or whatever they say. It is the Red Rocket Rooster or something. It's very much, a part of the lore, right? It's an established thing. They're called ballerinas because, the men do wrestling before they fight, or they train because they're monkey big men, and then there's the tiny female little girl that does ballerina and the beautiful stuff, quote unquote, before they murder people. So it's kind of like both doing their own specific sex related thing before they go kill people, right? Like, that's kind of the whole point. They train in certain ways, so that's why it's called Ballerina, right? But then at the same time, they were probably like, oh, we shouldn't just call it that, we should call it Ballerina from the world of John Wick, because if we don't say that, no one's going to effing watch our movie. Even if we have trailers and posters, people are going to read the title, and they're not going to watch it. So thankfully, I was not fooled, like I'm sure some people on the internet are, and one of my family members were, so I was like, no, it's not. It's not a fruity movie, Grandpa. It's an action movie, and it was like, no, it was great. You know what I mean? Like, it was really, really freaking good. And I wasn't that nervous, but I was kind of expecting, female John Wick, right? Oh, it's just John Wick again, but it's a girl. Oh, it's John Wick again, but it's a woman, and she's powerful and she's strong and it's woke, right? I really hoped it wasn't like that, where it's like all the men are stupid and ignorant and just like and then all the women are sexy and they're shooting guys and they're all badass and they can't get hit. Thankfully, I was completely proven wrong. This is a very good movie. Now, in terms of the woke stuff, not even a factor. Like, straight up. It's just, yes, there's a woman, but for some people online, I get it when they see a woman or a girl or a female, it's automatically woke, right? Oh my God, women! You know what I mean? But no, that's not it at all. Yes, Ana de Armas is really great, right? The only movie I've seen her in, besides this, was Knives Out, which she was great in. But at the same time, this is like, okay, now we get to see her do action, like crazy action, and I just saw Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning like a month or whatever ago, maybe a little less than a month ago, and that's a great action film. But this, I would say the action in this is elevated to another level where, if you've seen the 4 John Wick films, and I don't know if it's in Continental, I'm assuming it is, but it's there. You know what I mean? The stuff you want from this franchise, the funny moments, the action, the crazy bombastic explosions and knife fights and gunfights and gun fu or whatever they're calling it, it's all there. And maybe it isn't as good as a movie as 3 or 4 to me, but I will be straight up, Ballerina, I think, is a better made movie than John Wick 1 and 2. I know that's probably going to be like, oh, you're wrong, but I don't care.
I don't care.
You know what I mean? So it's like, screw it. It's a very good movie. And not only is the action phenomenal, which, again, obviously, right, it's a freaking John Wick film. The choreography is incredible. The action is very easy to follow. Sometimes they have that humor mixed with the action. Sometimes it's, John Wick is, like I said, very, he's pretty much, you know, God in a sense, right? Like, he dies, but, like, he can't die, you know what I mean? So he's always knifing guys and shooting guys, and he's always doing this crazy shit, and he's moving around, he's jumping, he's, you know, lopsided downstairs or whatever he's got to do, right? And that's all great, and the filmmaking techniques, you know, behind that are really good. But then you go into this girl, and I don't care, I'm just going to say it. Women, fundamentally, are not as strong as men, right? Like, our physiology, right? Like genetics, it's just not how it happens. Now, women can be strong, and they can be, you know, muscle women like She-Hulk and all that, so, you know, they can do that. But, you know, fundamentally, you know, you stick a 5'8" girl with, like, a room full of, you know, 6'2" guys from Russia with AKs, probably not going to end too great, you know what I mean? But obviously, yes, A, it's a movie, but B, we actually get to see, you know, Ballerina, right? We have to see Eva Macaro, I believe, Eva Macaro, I think, Eva, I think, something like that. And she kind of goes through this, you know, backstory, so to speak, and I won't spoil it, but at the beginning of the movie kind of goes into her backstory and why she's even in this spot in the first place. You kind of have this really awesome, you know, backstory with her character and with her family and all that, and how she kind of becomes who she is. And I'm glad they did that. I'm glad it wasn't just like, oh yeah, she's automatically great because she's a woman, or she's automatically great because, you know, the movie says so. You know, like, no, like, we actually get to see her backstory and see her rise the ranks and you know, try and fail. You know, she's doing her ballerina spins, she fails. She tries to, you know, she's doing this, like, training thing, and she's failing at that. And I'm not happy that a woman is failing, but in this crazy political world we live in, if a woman doesn't fail at anything, she's automatically a poorly written, horrible Mary Sue character, right? Trust me, I know. I've dealt with this crap for years. No, Rey Skywalker is not a Mary Sue. I can talk about that for years. But in this certain aspect, she's not either, right? Like they literally show her failing many, many times in the film. That's not to say I want her to fail, but I'm glad they show that to prove that, yeah, she's still a human. You know what I mean? She's not a god, a goddess, right? So we get to that aspect, and obviously there, you know, like I said, John Wick's style of fighting is a little bit different than hers, right? Eve's fighting is more or less, obviously, you know, she still uses knives and flamethrowers and shotguns and pistols and whatever, but a lot of it is centered around just household objects, right? Like, there's a scene where, like, they're fighting, and, like, you know, her and this other enemy are, like, you know, just beating the crap out of each other with plates, just and it's just like, yeah, it's funny because, you know, repeatedly with plates, but at the same time, yeah, like, if you or I were in that situation and we're not John Wick and we had to, you know, if we truly had to either fight or die, that's what probably we would do, right? Like, I would just, if I was in a restaurant, I'd grab forks and knives and spoons and glasses and cups and chairs, whatever, you know what I mean? That's what she does. And obviously it's not in just that one scene, it's throughout the whole film. But it shows that she's resourceful and that her, you know, style of fighting is a bit different than John Wick because she was trained different and she just kind of uses, you know, different things around her to kind of make sure that she wins. And I think that's, again, it gives a more realistic approach. In a unrealistic world, it's a realistic approach. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way I can put it. And then, of course, we get John Wick, and he's in this film. He's not in it a whole lot, so if you're just in this for him, don't see it. You know, if you're like, oh, it has to be him or nothing. But, like, if this is her movie, you know what I mean? And she's not just there to steal it. She's not outranking him. She's not, you know, you know what I mean, right? Last Jedi with Rey. Dial of Destiny with, what's her face? Fleabag, the girl. Helena, right? Like, every time there's a woman in anything now, like I said, people automatically throw freaking hands out. They go, you know, they go crazy. And no, like, you know, if you're one of those weirdos who sees a woman and panics, no, it's not like that. They don't downplay the men. They don't, you know, John Wick doesn't cry in the corner and shake while she kills everyone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a good action movie, right? And to speak on that, it's also a good action film because it has a good plot, right? John Wick 1 and 2, yeah, they're fine. You know, they got good plots. But I think this one, for me at least, had a stronger plot than some of the John Wick films. I know there is a lot of plot, right? Oh, the car and the dog and John Wick trying to leave and, you know, the high table and Winston and Sharon and, you know, all these things. Yeah, it's a great plot, right? Like, this franchise is very, very good. It's not just crazy action. There's also very good story to go along with it. But at the same time, this story feels fundamentally different, right? Because it is set, I believe it's set between 3 and 4, and you actually do like see scenes play out from one of the other John Wick films from her perspective, which is really cool. Not that we needed it to be connected, but I'm glad that they are doing that, right? It shows that they actually, they're taking the time for it, which is cool. But then you also get, like I said, like a good story, and I won't ruin it all, but there's a little girl involved in Norman Reedus, who is in Walking Dead and Death Stranding and some other things. That's all I really know him in. But this guy has his daughter, and it's a whole thing. Really, like the first scene in the movie is a massive spoiler, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about the story. But trust me, it's actually really good. They really cared about it. They care about Eve as a character, but also her motives and her plot, and the other characters around her are also really well developed and written to where it's like, yeah, like I never met this dude and his daughter, but I care about them because of X, Y, and Z, right? And I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, like I said, when you get a strong plot, not the strongest in the world, but a strong plot, very good action. I mean, some of the choreography, some of the shots, the cinematography, it is just effing crazy, right? Like John Wick, I'm assuming Continental and this are like, for me, they're like top tier action, right? Like for me, when I saw the Kingsman 1 church fight scene, and all 3 of the Kingsman films, we really effing need Kingsman 3, by the way, not the Kingsman, actual Kingsman 3 with Eggsy and Harry. We need that, but those films are like my gold standard for how to create, craft or create action scenes. But John Wick is like it's like a boom, it's like very, very below that, like it's super duper close. It's incredible, man, like truly, what they're able to do with the camera and what they're able to do with choreography that isn't weird, it's great, And obviously I love the Marvel movies, I love DC movies, I love Star Wars, obviously. All those movies and franchises have incredible action as well. But I think, if we were to get like a Star Wars film with like John Wick kind of fighting, and again, I'm not downplaying Star Wars action scenes. There's some of my favorite scenes in film history, especially from this film, and The Force Awakens over there. But, I don't have enough room. But it is very much, a factor where I'm like, oh yeah, like, they didn't lose the magic of what made John Wick so effing cool and special and high octane exciting, you know what I mean? So really they did a great job. I mean, if you were expecting a woke female, trash movie, political, whatever, like no, it is straight up a very well made action film, good plot, strong performances, really great action. Sadly, the last performance, as far as I'm concerned, of the guy playing Sharon, Lance Reddick, so that, it's obviously bittersweet there, but I think that, he does a fine job. He really doesn't do much. He's like, hey, welcome to the Continental, and I hope you, this is your gun, have a great day, whatever. But he's still in it. It's still cool, I guess. Again, some good jokes in there, some really good plots, some good drama, some really awesome action, and that all kind of blends together like a big snowball of bullets and shrapnel, I guess, to make a good, exciting action film that is a very, very worthy, addition to the John Wick franchise. Again, I have not seen Continental. I really, really want to. Tell me down below in the comments if you've seen that show without spoiling it, obviously. But yeah, man, I freaking love this movie. Like, genuinely, it's up there. It's like, for me, it would go John Wick 3, 4, probably this, and then John Wick 2 and John Wick 1. None of them are bad, but if I had if John had a gun in my, I dropped my gun. But if John had a gun in my head, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably my order. You know what I mean? So this is, when I first, watched this first John Wick film, it was like, oh yeah, like, I've heard about it, and I wasn't allowed to see it when it dropped because it's rated R, but then when I finally saw it, I was like, oh, I get it. It's good. And then I watched 2 and 3 and 4, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is like top-tier filmmaking, in terms of action, right? And even storytelling, like, they're all really, really good. And this is, again, another example of that. As far as negatives, I really didn't have too many. I think that, it pretty much gets straight to the action, right? Straight to the point. Mission Impossible, there's a few moments where it kind of drags a bit with the pacing. This, maybe you could say that the pacing's a little bit too fast, and it's just like automatic action, but I do think this movie is, I don't want to say better paced, but slower paced than 3 and 4. Because especially Chapter 3, man, it is just effing, like, it is 2.5 hours, whatever, of non-stop action. And I like that because I'm a dude that likes action. But, for some people it could be a little bit too much or too like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean? So maybe you could say that, but, like, I don't know. I mean, I think the villain is maybe not as good as some of the others. I think he's better than Vlad or Vloob or whatever his name is in the first film. I mean, yeah, like, I didn't walk out of there going, oh, I really didn't like that, or I didn't like this, I mean, Ana de Armas is a great actress in this. I think she's really good. Her training, I'm assuming she does most of her own stunts, really good in that. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I thought it was a very, good movie. I mean, I really didn't have that much negativity to say. As far as a movie itself, I might actually rank this one higher than Mission Impossible, and I really dug that movie. But I just think in terms of action and how all those pieces kind of fit together, this is one of the stronger John Wick entries and one of the best films I've seen, this year for sure. I got a lot more to see. And, you know, I got, Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, so lots more to come. I still have my MCU rewatch series, The Marvels, is next. Look out for that very soon. And yeah, tell me down below in the comments what you thought about Ballerina from the world of John Wick. And, yeah, if you were in this world, I mean, obviously if you're a dude, you're one, or you're a girl, you're another. But, you know, if you're a dude or a girl, you know, let me know. Would you want to do kind of that stuff that they go through to train and all that? Or would you just kind of hang back and, I don't know, be a contract killer or something? Look at your phone and be like, oh, let's go hunting, you know what I mean? And then die in 5 seconds because you're fighting literal gods and goddesses. But anyway, hope you guys had a great time watching this review. Again, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Alright.
Subscriber, there's gonna be consequences. Yeah.
Oh, I hit the target! Let's go! I hit my target. I got a Big Hero 6 poster too.